So the questions have been narrowing down the more the workshop's been going on. We had a conversation about a little bit over a year ago, where you said to me this was a time of clarification. I think the first one I've already got. I've been developing a business that was made possible by my partner who's with Jerry right now. And
oh, well, then you have a really good business partner because they're tireless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have access to everything that matters.
Yes. So what that gets to is the closer I get to the business, I had budget for the business, I had my living money, and I had money that was invested. And now the living money's gone, and I find myself starting to stretch things out. And it's like, you don't have to do that, because if money's source is going to be taking care of you.
Well, it's also important to keep things in balance.
Sure.
Because we talked earlier about the two worlds that so many of you are living within, and you have one foot in one world and one foot in another, sometimes it seems. And so it's a good focus for you to think about balance, because that's what we've been talking about all day here today. In and out, in and out. So source is always flowing clarity to you, and as you find something interesting to ponder, then that's sort of like in and out, in and out. A source is always flowing abundance to you, and as you find something to flow it to, then in and out, in and out. But with everything that you are trying to find balance in, it's as important that you don't flow out more than is flowing in. We had some conversations like that, a little imbalance that people are feeling when they're desiring more than they're allowing. And so we don't think it's a good idea. We don't think that any of you are practiced enough, really, at accepting the abundance of the universe to just begin to spend wildly or well, except for that one who was spending wildly. In other words, it's a good idea to spend as it is coming in, not more than is coming in. And so, now, but we talked earlier about you're not going to flip that, you're not going to make that pivot instantly, but you can make the emotional pivot. So let's find a way of saying that in a way that will really soothe you. Because soothing is what alignment is all about. So you begin, we'll listen, we'll help you to fine-tune, and we'll insert where we think it's beneficial. It's a big topic for a lot of people.
Begin.
Just start talking with an intention of speaking generally enough that you find solid footing to feel prosperity around.
Well, I know where I come from, which means I know that all the people that I've known in my past have contributed to where I stand now. And that now is now and now and now, and it just keeps going. I know where I'm going because Renee with Jerry is there behind me, supporting me the whole way through. I know, and I also about 3 or 4 years ago, because I have all these desires, and it's like, dude, maybe just pick 3 or 4 of them right now. And pick the one that's obvious to you, that's always been showing up to you in terms of a meditation.
Can you feel how we got a little sidetracked here? Just
Yeah.
a little? In other words, all of that good, but focus more specifically on the subject at hand in a way that soothes you. You started out by saying, I'm very fortunate.
Yes.
Whatever I'm wanting does flow to me.
It does come to me. I've been very fortunate also. Things have always been taken care of for me. I have the opportunity now to...
There isn't anything that I need to do right now. There isn't anything that I need to do right now. My work right now is to accomplish a feeling. My work right now is to accomplish a feeling of balance and prosperity. My work right now is to accomplish, to create an atmosphere. Because you see, it's really easy, and it's easy for all of you, and we don't mean, the word easy isn't what we're reaching for. It's logical or it's your knee-jerk reaction, to want to jump into action, to want to try to figure out some action that will get things going in the right direction right away. We want you to resist the urge to act and to encourage the urge to, rather than taking action, to find a feeling place of well-being. A feeling place. In other words, don't buy anything, don't rent anything, don't hire anyone, in other words, no action, no action, no action. Just try to find thoughts that buoy you up in a subject of prosperity.
Okay.
Easier said than done, and it takes a little bit of practice. But once you find it, then it's easy to sustain it. We have some questions for you. Do you accept that you are a vibration first and foremost?
Yes.
And do you accept that everything that you see in its manifested form is just energy or vibration that has had more momentum to it?
Yes.
So do you accept that vibration is at the heart of everything that is physical?
Yes.
And therefore, vibration is at the heart of everything that is monetary.
Yes.
So there is a vibrational currency that you have access to immediately, that when you focus upon that vibrational currency and accept the isness of it, it will grow into enough momentum that then a monetary, see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, currency will flow into your experience. But you've got to stabilize in that vibrational currency. And it's a rare person who really does that, because most of you are so quick to jump into action. But at the point that you're at, and with all of the assistance that you have otherwise, if you could just stabilize there, it's our promise to you, the currency will flow into your experience in a way that you will be able to see it. It will be tangible to you. It's annoying to you. We know that it is, because, and it's what the whole subject of faith really is.
Yeah.
It's find a reason to feel good even when there's not physical evidence to feel good, because it's easy to feel good when the circumstance yields itself to you and causes you to feel good. So what we've been asking all of you to do all day here today is, rather than knee-jerk response to a circumstance, instead, create an atmosphere to which you are responding, which will then control the circumstances. You feel the way it works?
Yeah.
So that means feel good now. So you started to tell a little story about how you had a nest egg, and there is investment, and there is potential money. And in that story, as you were telling that story, did that shore up your sense of well-being, or was that a little bit of eroding your sense of well-being?
It shored it up.
So tell us more of that then.
Well, when I was sitting in that realization that it's that thing, you've heard it many, many times before, but that money is source also. And it's like, oh, I can take a breath. I can feel relief. The past 3 years with my partner, who's with Jerry, one of the things I've been consciously doing is living a life at a nice frequency where I'm able to do things that feel good, but I'm not overextending. I'm not throwing my money away radically. And it's been really nice to be there. It's just been really, really nice to be there.
So does it follow that that state of being that has been feeling really, really nice has put you in a good vibrational place?
Yes.
In a place that is logically going to allow things to begin flowing? So what is increasing the urgency that you feel here?
Like I said, the living expenses, they're no more. And I have my investments, and I have the business. And I'm going to be able to draw from here to invest here. And I'm going to be doing that slowly.
All right. So as you acknowledge that that exists, Jerry had a friend years ago who presented to him the analogy that if you've pulled the sled far enough up the hill, that then you can have a nice long ride down. And when Jerry explained that to Esther, she thought, well, that makes sense. And when Jerry explained that to us, we said, that analogy doesn't serve you, because it makes it sound like you effort before you can relax, and that really isn't the way the universe works. And yet there is a little bit of that contained in what you're offering here in terms of the practical way that you are approaching all of this. So the emphasis that we want to help you to activate within yourself is how well established you have been and still are. And it is our promise to you that a steady emphasis with a deliberate intent to increase the momentum of that feeling of well-being is the work for you to do right now. Budgets are interesting because with a budget or a balance, there are two aspects you can control or that you want to put your attention in. One is what's coming in and one is what's going out. And if those things are not in balance, then you get out of balance. If you spend more than you make, you get out of balance. But when we are talking about a vibrational currency, which is the currency that we're talking about, then worrying is spending more than you're letting in. Mm-hmm. Fretting is spending more than you're letting in. Yeah. Getting too deliberate, getting too controlled, strong feelings of deprivation is not spending less than you're letting in, it's spending more than you're letting in vibrationally. Can you feel the difference? So it's interesting, if we're talking about actual money, then a budget would be don't spend more than you've got. And yet if we're talking about vibrational currency, we're saying deprivation is not letting the currency in. That's a really important thing to acknowledge. So that's the balance, and we think you're doing a good job of it. We can tell by your opening words to us. So as you acknowledge, there's plenty there, there's plenty in reserve, all is really well, there's never a reason for me to panic, and certainly not now. I'm sitting in a good financial place, more is on the way, there's plenty in reserve, all is well with me financially, and just keep talking to yourself like that until the urge to have this conversation does not exist within you anymore.